When you travel for over 25 plus years, you see a lot of things, you learn a lot of things. And as that pilot wife lady, we have learned a lot. We have made mistakes, we have made changes, run into delays, had perfect flights, and everything in between. Today, I wanted to share the gadgets that I use to make my travels a little more safe. I don't travel in fear. Sometimes things you just can't prevent, but I don't have to make it easy should something happen. For example, about 15 years ago, we were in the Philadelphia airport getting ready to board our flight to Rome. I received a call from my credit card company. They went through the spiel of your number's been compromised, we need to cancel your card. I hung up because it was kind of strange and called directly from the back of my card. It turns out it actually had been stolen. As we're sitting there in the airport, I only brought one credit card. Thankfully, we were going on a family trip. My husband had his, so we had a backup. But I learned a very valuable lesson, and that is never travel with only one form of payment. So now I always travel with two credit cards or a credit card, debit card, and cash. When we go internationally, we usually start out with at least $100 in the local currency. Valuable lesson learned. Today, let's fly into some of the ways that I protect myself and hope that that never happens again. 99% of the time, we travel in a carry-on suitcase and personal item bag only. Traveling with a personal item bag and a carry-on bag only does a few things. One, we're never waiting at baggage claim. Saves us plenty of time. Two, sometimes we don't know if we are getting on the flight, and having everything right with us all the time just makes things a lot less stressful. And three, this is mainly for international travels, it makes us speedy. Not race speedy, but we can be on the move easily. If you are lugging a big checked bag along those cobblestone streets or uneven roads, you're not quite as mobile. With these two pieces, I can pick them up if I need to, if we're using steps. They follow right behind me very easily. I use four-wheeled suitcases, so if I want to do it right by my side, all of those things. It makes me more mobile so that I'm not concentrating on my bags if we're going from the airport to the cab to the Airbnb. It's one less thing that I have to think about or that weighs me down. I have a plethora of packing videos that if you have not tried traveling in a carry-on suitcase, maybe you have, but you just want some extra tricks to get more space in those, I will put some packing videos that I have down below so that you can reference those and maybe fit a few more things in if you want to. Now let's take a quick look at all the safety gadgets I'm going to go over today, each piece, and why I think it's worth packing for any of your trips. First things first, our identification. Obviously, we're packing this along every trip, otherwise we are not getting through security. If you are traveling domestically and you just need to bring your real ID, obviously there are many different ways we can do this now. You can hand over your physical driver's license, or some now are having you insert it into the machine where the TSA agent doesn't even have their hands on it, and they're doing the comparison along with the photo that's being taken. If you don't have the real ID yet, you will need to carry your passport or military identification just so you can get through security. Or the third option is now the TSA is offering for a $45 fee the day of at the airport you can fill out on your phone to get through security. I would suggest going through and getting the real ID because that $45 isn't good for all trips. That if you're going to travel more than once a year, to get the real ID and one less thing you have to worry about each trip. Traveling internationally, there have been so many changes. The ETA for the UK, you have the EES, which has just now been officially launched in the last week. leading into the ETIAS that's coming later in 2026, all of those. There's a lot. And I have a separate video on that as well if you want to go through each of those if you're not familiar. With your passport, before you head out on your journey, it's a good idea to have backups of your passport. And what I mean by that is if you are a digital person, you're going to take a photo of the first page, and in the very back, there is a barcode down here, and you're going to take a picture of that. You can put both of those photos into a hidden album. You're going to hit those three dots and it will say, do you want to hide it? And it puts it in a hidden album that requires a fingerprint, Face ID, whichever your phone has, to access those photos. So it's not just sitting there open in your general photo album. Somehow have a backup copy that should you lose or your passport gets stolen, it's easier to get your passport reinstated if you already have all that information as a backup. And I just want to add in here, none of this is to panic or add fear of any kind. It's the adventure, it's the excitement, but a little pre-planning helps me relax more knowing that I have taken extra precautions, but I'm not walking around like a nervous Nelly. Like I'm not doing this video to do that. And if none of these gadgets apply to you or you don't want to try them, absolutely 100,000%, you do you. Things that I use in my travels, it makes me travel lighter. The first gadget I have is AirTags. I bought the 4-pack. These are the two I pulled out that I have one in my carry-on suitcase on the off chance that I do have to check it. I have one in my personal item bag, and then I have one in my crossbody bag on my trips, just so I can track them a little bit easier. And as far as checked bags, when you have one in there, should your bag get delayed or lost, you can now, with I know the major airlines can allow them access to help them track your bag faster. Should the ticketed barcode on your suitcase maybe not be working, this did come in very handy. We were sitting in the Naples airport. We had just come up from Sicily, and everyone had gotten their suitcases. We did EasyJet on the way back up, and they have very strict, Ryanair and EasyJet, very strict on their carry-on policies. So we didn't want to mess with it, paid to check our bags, but everyone else had gone. And me and my whole family, we were sitting there. It's like, where's our bags? I got into my phone, and it was just peace of mind to know that, okay, it is in the same city that we're in, it's just delayed. To be able to track that and know, okay, should we go to the agent and start finding out where this is? No, just need to be a little more patient. And it eventually popped up. And nothing is foolproof, right? I see comments all the time of, they're just gonna take it out of your bag and toss it and you'll never find it. Absolutely, that could happen. I don't have to make it easy. So should crossbody or backpack that I'm using on that trip, if it gets taken or lost, usually just hide it in something versus just throwing it in the top of my bag or in the bag somewhere. It's tucking it inside something else that maybe they won't check right off the bat until they toss the bag later or something. So it gives a little extra time. Even one last AirTag tip would be check the batteries before each trip. I do get notifications I have set up in the Find My iPhone. A dead AirTag doesn't do us much good. Back to the money conversation. When I said I keep multiple forms of payment now on a trip, I also keep them in different locations. Whether it be if I'm not carrying one of my RFID crossbody bags or backpack, I will have my wallets, and one will be in my personal item bag or suitcase, one will be in my crossbody bag, or sometimes depending on the trip, one will be in my hidden belt, keeping them in a different spot. So heaven forbid, if something is lost or stolen, you have those backups. This one is RFID ready, but this one is not. It was just kind of cute. I liked it. I liked the O-ring that I could connect it inside my crossbody bag so it's not easily grabbable. Card holders, zipper. When I use this one, I put one of the RFID blocking cards inside of it first as a precaution. And these come in, I think, a pack of 4. So I have them in a couple different places that are not the RFID wallets already. And that leads into crossbody bags or backpacks. A couple things to look for in your crossbody bag. Most ones, when we are traveling in big crowded cities, the very least, a thick nylon strap. I like that. This one is not slash resistant, but it's wide enough that it's not going to be, it's going to be less of a target, not going to be as easy to do, so they may pass me by. It's very thin, which I also like. That makes it easier for the travels. The two that usually when we are in big crowded cities going to take the crowded subway system or trains, I use my more secure travel bag. It has a front access pocket where I will keep my phone so that if I want to grab it mid-travel day, tour day, it's easy for me to just grab it without having to look inside, as well as chapstick or lip gloss for me. That is in the front pocket, always easy to get to. The locking clips. These all have little locking pieces, pocket, so it's not easy to get into. This one, the back, it'll locking rings to lock any of those that you want. These are slash resistant straps, as well as if I use a backpack, easy front pocket access that will have my phone, my chapstick, maybe Kleenex. I also can cover it up, lock it. Either way I zip this, it has the locking that I can do. Depending where we are, I will wear this on my back. Really crowded areas, it'll be a front backpack. And then as it's crossed over or the backpack, I always just keep just kind of one relaxed hand on it at all times or over the front of it, especially in trains, subways, those busy tourist areas. For the bags that may not have a locking piece to them, I also have mini carabiners that I bring along. 2 loops, something like that to keep it closed, and then you just latch them on there. A deterrent. 100%? Never. But I'm just trying to make me less of a target than everyone else around me. If you're taking long train rides, one trip we took the train from Paris to Barcelona, and you have to put all your bags, they're not right next to you on the train. What I ended up doing was locking a couple of our suitcases together, the handles. This is the smaller one, little lock, and then I also had a larger that would go around 4 of the bags. When it's stacked all in there, it's less of a deterrent. Yep, you could pick them all up and take them with you, but it's going to be a little more noticeable when people are getting off the train by doing that versus someone just taking one suitcase and walking away with it that's not theirs. I want you to pick somebody else's if that mean, nasty person is there on my train, instead of picking ours. I know, that didn't sound very nice, did it? I don't want him to pick anybody's stuff or to rob anybody or steal anything, but I'm trying to make myself less noticeable, less of a target. Next up, let's talk data. There is a lot of stuff that can be stored on our phones. When you need to charge your phone, it always seems easy to take that cord and plug it in at the airport or use a public charger. I try not to do that. The multiple stories that I've heard of data being compromised, whether it's at a public charging port or skimming, things like that, I always, as a first option, go to my portable chargers. We have multiple, and I can list the ones that are our favorites down below. I use these whenever possible. If they should run out of juice mid-trip or the day that we're using them and haven't charged them back up yet, instead of using a public charger naked, I will plug in a data blocker first and then plug into that just as an extra precaution. If you don't want to carry another gadget around, then a better play would be at least use your block and the prong plug in the charger versus just your USB charger into that public charging place. Next up would be not a gadget per se, but different scenarios that you might be in on a trip. Going from the airplane, then you're catching a cab to your hotel versus on touring day, you're in a big crowded bus or train or subway. Being aware of our surroundings, not absently just kind of wandering, but paying attention to where you're at, who's around you, not scared, not fearful, but just kind of glancing around. And it may help that I like to people watch. For me, this just comes second nature. Crowded spots is always keeping one hand on your bag at all times and over the front of it, just so it shows anyone who might be there for nefarious reasons, don't pick me. Presenting yourself confident. I go into other ideas in my solo travel video when I'm on my own. So there's some tips in there as well if you want to go a deeper dive into it. Just being aware of where you're at, where you're going. And if you have to stop and look for directions, always make sure that your back is against some type of wall. You're not just out in the middle of a sidewalk where everyone's just circling around you and you're not paying attention because you're trying to find out, where am I at? Or sit down for a coffee break. Map it out that way. Enjoy a cup of coffee shop, relax. And the next travel tip or suggestion that I have is pre-planning and researching ahead of time should always be done. Being able to know what neighborhood you are booking your hotel in. And that's where all of like the comments in multiple spots, whether it be a blog post that you found or Expedia or Viator, any of those that have reviews to look up so you can get an idea of, is this the neighborhood that I want to book my hotel room or book my Airbnb in? As well as sending all of your itinerary information, hotel, the reservation numbers, the phone number, the address, to a friend or family member back home. Someone else needs to have all that information. If something happens, they can easily track you down. If you are international, I would advise looking into the STEP program, and that is, it's for US citizens and getting registered, because that puts you within the, if there's a natural disaster or something breaks out and you are registered there, that is another way for the US to notify its citizens in that area and to also track you down if need be. Those are my non-negotiable safety gadgets that I like to carry along with me on my trip. Nothing is 100% foolproof. I'm just trying to increase my percentages for an easy, light, enjoyable trip. Do you have a favorite gadget that you take on every trip? Because if you've been here more than once, you know I'm a curious bird. I can continue to improve upon and make changes as we travel into our midlife years. I am that pilot wife lady on here sharing all the travel goods so that you can travel well, travel light, and travel in your own kind of style. I'll be back next week with a new packing video that goes along with my Sudoku packing video that I did, but this one, believe it or not, is a little more simplified. So I'm testing it out. Next week, we have another trip coming up, so it's a perfect time to test it. Thanks for being here. I'll see you back here next week. Cheers and happy travels. Less. Okay, more caffeine. As again, no. Hello. Let's work here. Wow. Little gadgets. I have gadgets on the brain. The aftermath of filming. Put it all away. But coffee helps.